Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good morning, good afternoon, or a warm welcome to wherever you are on this fine Saturday, and welcome to the coverage of round one of the ARA Formula 4 Championship, sponsored by Virtual Racing School, live exclusively on Apex Racing TV. Now, it's all change here in the ARA Saturday series. Gone are the Formula 3 cars, and they are replaced by their slightly less powerful cousin, the Lara IR even 04. The F4 is one of iRacing's newest single-seaters, popular with both amateurs and veterans alike. Its mix of both powers and ability to provide hair-racing races due to its perfect balance of downforce and natural grip. It's no wonder the community voted to race the F4s in this season. However, what hasn't changed, I'm sure, is the action. We're guaranteed to have an absolutely show-stopping race here today at the Hockenheim ring. Joining me, Sebastian Bosher-Williams, in the commentary box. We have the ever-talented John Robertson, even on production. But right now, I'm joined by my co-commentator, Sam Fitzpatrick. Firstly, good evening, Sam. It's lovely to have you joining us in the commentary box to cover the ARA F4s. We're here at Hockenheim tonight. It's obviously the first race of the season. It's got such a good mix of tricky corners with, you know, easy. It's got such a mix, isn't it, of tricky corners and easy places to overtake. So how do you think the drivers are going to find it tonight?
I think we're going to get lots of slipstreaming, I think, tonight. I think, as you say, there's a lots of easy overtaking spots around this circuit. The turn 6 hairpin, obviously, is the big one. And to be fair, I haven't seen these cars race too much, but as far as I'm aware, they are very slipstream heavy, and it's going to be tricky for particularly the top guys to be able to pull away from one another. So I think we're going to have some really action-packed racing, because this is a big circuit for these cars. This is a big circuit even for, like, you know, top-level single-seaters, let alone these smaller Formula 4 cars.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And we are going to see exactly what's going to happen. All the drivers at the moment just on their outlaps. Nobody set a fastest time on the board as we have a look at Martu. He was the quickest man in practice, so he is the man to beat going through the turn 6 hairpin. A little bit on the curve. That's not going to help his lap time one a bit. And we're going to see, and this is another overtaking opportunity, isn't it, Sam, into the Mercedes arena. We've seen many action in the ARA F3 series here. I think it was the last race of the season. So the drivers who are returning know how to overtake here. And yeah, we're going to see a lot of action into the Mercedes arena.
Yeah, and it kind of follows on from the hairpin, doesn't it? So even if you don't get the job done at the turn 6 hairpin, you can always get it done a couple of corners later, and you can kind of set it up. Pretty much got one braking area in about a 40-second stretch where the rest of it is all flat out, as Will Redford, top I-rated driver for this series. He goes to the top. He is going to be one of our favourites for this season. We've got such a fantastic grid of drivers from lots of different Apex Racing League championships. It's awesome to see these guys kind of change disciplines. Redford, very good touring car driver, along with pretty much every single category, I think, on iRacing. Tobias Olsen is the 2-time F3 champion, so he's got the car number 1. However, he was a little bit lacking in qualifying. And then we've also got the man who we were previously seeing, Thiago Marteau, who is a former 2-time champion of the F3 series as well. So it's very tricky to call. But so Redford, at the moment, in this very, very early parts of the season, we're 0.1% through the season so far. He is currently leading as it stands.
He certainly is. I think one of the drivers you mentioned, Marteau, had an issue on his first flying lap. We saw him start the lap, but he must have got an off track somewhere, because I don't see him anywhere on our timing stands, and that's not what you want to do. As you enter a new season of racing, you want to nail this first qualifying session. If you have a look at Porter coming into the turn 6 hairpin once again, very squirrely on exit, really controlling 150 horsepower of this straight 6 for a 2-litre engine, even down towards the Mercedes arena. He goes, very careful not to lock the brakes, which he does, and navigates it very successfully. Will Redford's on a little bit of a stormer. Actually, he is not. He is even, as the timing stands. Just update, he extends his lead now, but Arvidsson responds rather quickly, although runs a little bit wide into turn 1, so he won't be able to improve, at least on this lap, as we go to turns 12. And I think this is going to be one of the main areas to watch in the race. Drivers going wide in turn number 12. You can hit the gravel, and it's so easy to take a trip to the wall. As we have a look at Laredo, and Laredo is a name that we recognise from many series, Sam, and you know, he's always been up there, but do we think that, you know, this is the season that we can really see him mount a championship battle?
Yeah, I think it's certainly possible for Lado. I think he's about the 8th highest I-rated driver in the series. Yeah, part of the pro category indicated by that red stripe. on the timing tower. So I think if you can just get consistent results, you're going to have a chance. And I don't think anyone's going to be dominating this season like we saw Alston dominate last season. So these consistent results could yield a good opportunity. Just a little word as well on the car colours. So you got the red for the pros, the green for the pro AMs, and the white for the AMs. Laubert currently at the top of the amateur drivers, and that is signalled by the stripe on the time tower, but also by some of the elements on the car as well. So you can see the halo indicates that, along with also the front wing end plates, the mirrors, and also the rear wing, I think you call them end plates, on the back of that as well, just around the number. So that should signal that the drivers do score points for their overall position. So you want to beat whoever is in your class, or apologies, whoever is in the race, regardless of which class they are in. But it does give us a little bit of an indication, as we've got Molfetova, who moves to 8th position right there, does the Czech driver. That is very good for her first race in the series. Well,
yeah,
her first ARL race, I should say.
Yeah, and beating out some pro drivers and even some pro AMs, so absolutely storming lap from her. Can she improve? Is once again we head down towards the Spacecar hairpin. Very tricky braking zone. Locks a wheel on entry. That's certainly not going to help you turn in. Seems to recover it by the apex of the corner, and she is away once again. And we're going to see many drivers struggling. Give you a note on the conditions that the drivers are facing. The track temperature is quite a high 32 degrees Celsius, as we see there is Molotova has a little bit of a spin heading in to turns number 8, and that will be the end of her lap. But she will just about get another lap if she can have a little bit of a hurry up towards the line. So not all is lost for our current AM pole sitter. This is on board with the 307 car, the nearest AM driver to Molotova, riding so much of the curve on there, almost wiggling on exit of turns number 12. As we head into Sachs now, what can Bunn do? What can he do to try and find a little bit of time? He's got a little bit of traffic up ahead of him. Didn't quite see the car. Actually, Molotova runs wide. That's going to distract him at the crucial apex. And are we going to see a change for the AM pole position as he crosses the line? And I don't think this was a lap to really write home about. Certainly not. And actually has a moment through turn 1 for good measure. So I don't think, Sam, that he's going to be able to make another lap. We've got about 1 minute 10 seconds until the session's over. So I think Molotova might be looking pretty safe here for the AM pole position.
Yeah, once the drivers have to complete their lap time before the 10 minutes are up, as Lado goes off the circuit there. But yeah, they need to get it complete before the 10 minutes, and so anyone who hasn't started a lap already are not going to be able to improve. I think Redford should be able to get around. It'll be close. It'll be really close, actually, if Redford gets around. Who else has also got a chance? We've got Johan Stoltz out there. He's just going through the final couple of corners. Maybe Suarez could maybe improve. I think Jay Walsh just, well, actually it was White who just improved by a couple of positions. Very close down the order. You can see the top 13 there, separated by a second. And Kevin Zwemstra being down in 14th position is absolutely madness. Shows the strength of this field. And by the way, just a reminder to everyone that we are using the elimination heat format. I just like to use the word elimination whenever I can. And so the field are split into 2 different heats, initially 10 minutes each, then we go to a B final, then we go to an A final, and the top positions in each progress on to the next round. As Redford just about lost that time, so he wasn't able to get round. Maybe it would have been a pole position lap, not quite sure. But we are about to get the Heat 1 underway, which will contain all the drivers who qualified in odd positions. And there are some points available for this one, but the A final will yield a few more.
Certainly will. So we have Isaac Arvidsson, our pole man, and he starts from pole position in race number 1 with Tobias Olsson alongside him. Tobias Seck rounds up 3rd place. He is the pole sitter in this race of the Pro-Ams with Lennart Schnabel in 4th. Daniel Porter 5th with Hans Morgan Nilsson in 6th place. Arias Jumentis is 7th with Kevin Zwemstra all the way down in 8th place, our 4th highest high-rating driver of the event. Michael Griffin is 9th with Alex Lewis in 10th. Daniel White is just outside the top 10 in 11th with 12th place going to Jamie Tukey. Barry Abbott is 13th with Craig Akuri in 14th. Jose Arroyo is 15th, and Thor Tulu is in 16th and last place for race number 1, as we're just waiting for a few more drivers just to grace us with their presence on the grid. And now, do we think, Sam, are we expecting a little bit of drama into turn 1, or do we think they're going to play it safe, as this is the opening race of the season?
I hope they play it safe. Top 8 get through to the A final. It is so important you get through to the A final. I cannot stress enough. If you have a crash in this round, you're going to start from the back for the B final, and your chances of getting into the A final at all are going to be slim. So top 8 is what the judges need to be worried about. And so these top guys at least need to be very cautious, and I hope they are around these first few corners, just thinking about the long game, thinking about the championship.
Yeah, it's amazing that we're already thinking about the championship and we haven't even started racing. But as the lights build up, Olsen's jump, the start. Drama already as the 5 lights build, and we are underway. The 113 driver is your pole sitter, and he's got an absolutely mega launch. Olsen dropping down the field. He's going to be swamped by 3 cars. We head into turn 1. Almost contact there for our championship, not leader, but ex-champion, the number 1 car, Olsen. Really struggling to get off the line. In the background, we have 2 wide as they all file down into turn 2. And everybody's got away cleanly. Certainly our pole man, he is absolutely rocketing away at the start. Somebody's wide on the exit of turns 4, but everybody's still getting away nice and cleanly as we head down towards the first major overtaking opportunity of the lap. And I don't think Tobias Sek is anywhere close enough to be making a move. We're having a little bit of a look and a dive. Lock up there for the 171 car. That's going to allow the 196 car. They're 3 wide. There's a spin in the background. There's loads of cars spinning. We have a car park on the apex of turn 6. And there is lots of people involved in that. There's Lennart Schnabel involved, Craig Arcuri, Jose Arroyo, Tulu, Abbott, Griffin. Just my timing screen is absolutely red at the moment. Tobias Olsen, though, has made his way up all the way up to 3rd place on this opening lap after the disastrous start. But, Sam, the question is he going to take a penalty for that jump start?
Absolutely, I don't see how he won't, because I think he jump started twice, and if anything, maybe he should have just gone when he got it initially, so I think he'll be back into the pits. Arvidsson, I think, messed up the hairpin, because he was miles clear of the rest of them, and then all of a sudden it was about 3 wide coming out of turn 6, but he managed to survive, and he's built up that gap again. Will Olsen pit this time round? He's not, which indicates that he doesn't have a drive-through to serve, because you'd think you'd serve that straight away, get out of traffic and try to set some clean laps. But other big gainers, Wemstra up 3 places, that's what we expected. Alex Lewis, the Welsh driver, he's up 4 places. Also, Churley, despite getting involved in that incident, he still made up 7 places, but Schnabel back to the pit. So he's our big hitter in the in the pro category, and he's going to have to drop to the back as Olsen is all over the back of Sek. He doesn't want to allow his fellow countryman Arvidsson pulling out in the lead.
Certainly doesn't, slipstreaming him, and we get to see our first real taste of F4 action here at the ARA Formula 4 series. Olsen to the inside now. Who's going to be a little bit braver under braking? Looks fairly even to me. Sek's going to let this one go, I think, but that's going to open the door to Porter, and this is for their class lead, so Sek going to have to close that one off fairly sharpish, which he does, and just to weather the storm as Olsen up to 2nd place. And can he get after Arvidsson, who is in the lead? But you're right, Sam, he had such an advantage heading into turn 6, but certainly didn't have anywhere near the advantage heading out of it on the first lap. Seems to have improved his pace a little bit on this lap. The gap is now 7 tenths as we see more action. This is Lennart Schnabel and Arroyo. So Schnabel, after coming into the pits, getting past Arroyo, and Arroyo has not taken a trip to the pit, so he might have a little bit of damage to that Dallara Formula 4 car. Can't quite see from this position as Olsen does pull into the pit, so this is high drama. So Olsen, after getting past into 2nd place, is going to have to come in and serve a drive-through penalty for a false start, and it was fairly obvious. So yeah, you know, Sam, exactly what you were saying, you know, a lap ago, is why didn't he come in on the first lap and just get into clean air and just go to the end? Because, you know, Olsen spent so much time battling with Tobias Sek, and it was just worthless.
Yeah, I think so. But he's, I mean, I don't even know how long he'll be stationed for. Well, 13 seconds, Paulson. Really? only 13 seconds for a stop and hold. That seems very short, so I'm surprised iRacing have let him off so easily, but maybe it's a newer thing they're doing. This is quite a new circuit, so maybe that's like one of the new penalties they have got, so I'm not quite sure. So he's still 12th place, actually, is also. He's still ahead of Schnabel, who is also still in the race. The Jazz do get a faster pair as well, so Schnabel, who had to take repairs, also Daniel White, who had to take repairs, they both get a completely clean car, so it gives them a chance of getting back into the race. So honestly, I wouldn't rule out Olsen of getting a top 8 from this one. I know that's very far-fetched at the moment. He's 13 seconds behind Abbott, but all he needs is a couple of things to happen to these top guys, and he could still advance. But in terms of the race win in the A final, Olsen's chances are surely over now, because you know your finishing result from these races decide your starting position for the A and the B final, and he's going to have a long way to come back, as we are watching Zwemstra. After that poor qualifying, we knew he was going to be moving his way back up the Alcantech NHR driver, and he is doing that. He has got a good chance at second place. Sec is not far ahead, but first he's got to deal with Porter.
Indeed, Jose Arroyo's had some form of incident out on track, as Arvidsson even sets the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 39 flat, so he is about 6/10 quicker than any other driver on track at the moment, so absolutely going to plan for our lead Swede. If you see Zemstra coming through turn 2, and this technically turn 3 on the exit now of turns number 4, Zemstra tucking into that slipstream, stalking the back of that green Dallara F4 car. And where is he going to do? Does he feel like an inside move, or does he feel like the unconventional outside move? And I think Zemstra, feeling this is a little bit of an easy move, pulls out to the inside. Porter not really defending, has a half-hearted attack, or a defense even, but Zemstra wide on exit. He's going to have to give that place up, which he does. So Porter still in 3rd place. And Zemstra, after I think thinking that that was an easy move, isn't feeling that. And the number 5 car of Lewis behind him is getting very spicy and wanting a little bit of a piece of this action. And this is for a position on the podium, so everything to play for as we see the battle crucially for 8th place. And this is almost as crucial as the battle for the race win, because this determines if you get in to the A final. So if you get into the top 8, as Sam has been saying, you just advance to the final. You don't have to do any other races as Schnabel gets past Olsen. They're side by side, as we see. This is Porter even, so this is Porter and Zemstra's. Porter still managing to keep ahead, and look at the amount of cars behind Porter now. Daniel Porter, it might be going from 3rd down to 6th place in a very short space of time, but Porter still leads this gaggle of cars as we cross the line, and we now head through turn 1. Porter a little bit wide. Zemstra says, I can go a little bit wider than you, and I think even the 5 car behind him said, no, I can definitely go wider than you as well. Under braking, they all look a little bit loose. Porter there very wide on exit. This is going to mean he's really vulnerable as we head down towards turn 6, and I think Porter's looking really vulnerable at the moment, but Zemstra is looking on the offensive, but he's going to have to keep an eye at Lewis in the mirror, because I think we're about to make it 3 wide on the back straight. Through the parabolica we go. Zemstra side by side with Porter, who's going to be the last of the late breakers. Looks like Porter was a little bit later on the break. Zemstra goes through, and this is going to leave Porter very he's going to leave him very vulnerable on the exit of turn 6, and that's going to allow Lewis to have a little bit of a look down the inside of turn 7, and the 171 car of Juventus is getting involved in this action as well. Porter sticks it down the inside. Lewis goes wide, has a little bit of oversteer, has to correct the car and gather the car up, and now Lewis has lost a position, so it's Zemstra, Porter, Juventus and Lewis in. Well, if that's a taste of what's to come, I'm certainly looking forward to this series.
Definitely. Porter looked a little bit out at sea right there. Didn't want to say that for a couple of minutes. He got many more of those puns lined up for the rest of the season. Abbott is still just ahead of Chulo, who is closing him in right now. But actually, Chulo lost 2/10 on that lap. He's certainly been faster on this lap, however, as the British driver. And then they got Tuki behind. Olsen trying to catch up to these guys. He's in a bit of a battle with Schnabel. But Olsen's just had a little bit of enough, but I think he should be alright. We'll stay in 12th place, thanks to having an absolute mare. But Chulo's desperate to get past. Of course, if Chulo finishes in this position, then he will have the best spots for the B final. He'll start in P1 for the B final. But you know, when you got pro drivers like Schnabel and Olsen and other very quick pro-am drivers as well, you want to get straight through and avoid any of the potential complications later on in the event. So he's lining this one up very nicely at the moment. Is Cholo just getting into the slipstream, and I think this should be a fairly easy move once he gets down to turn 6.
Yeah, really showing that the slipstream is pretty powerful around the Hockenheim ring, at least tonight. And Cholo now really stalking the back of the 319 car, pulls to the inside. This is going to be another fairly standard late braking maneuver, but Sam, does it look like to you, and I don't know if this is a little bit of netcode on my end, but does Cholo's front wing look a little bit bent on the driver's left-hand side?
I think you are correct about that one, as he's going to have to go defensive. That will be costing him a bit of straight line speed, but once he survives around this part of the circuit, then he should be able to pull away through the stadium. Still, he's having to go a little bit offline, not flat out necessarily through that right-hander, but it's still okay, good speed, as we're already coming up to the checkered flag. I thought we were going to get another lap in, but it's going to be Arvidsson from the pole position. He made a little bit of a mistake on lap 1, but he kept the lead, and from then on, it was very dominant. He beats Tobias Sek, pro-am driver, up in 2nd position in a heat. Zwemstra recovers well to 3rd position. Porto Yamantis will be there, and Churlo on that last lap move, I think is going to be able to secure 8th position, which is ever so important for one of our favourites in the Pro-Am Championship. But it's still super close to him around the final corner, but Churlo manages to secure his space in the A final. You can see how quite close Schnabel was near the end of the race, but he could not catch in time. And Tobias Olsen, defending F3 champion, not the start to the season he wanted. He is going to be starting down, I think, in 7th position for the B final.
Is indeed, as we just see the rest of our cars come across the line. This is Daniel White down in 14th place. He'll, as we were saying, have another chance to get into the A final, but he's going to have a mega race if he wants to do that. But we've seen crazier things happen at the ARA races. There you go, just about to bring up the race results for race number 1 as we're already lining up. And Sam, why don't you just take us through our race results?
Yes, Arvidsson up the top there, then Sek, Zwemstra, Porto Yamantis, Lewis Griffin and Churlo getting through. Abbott top of the AMs, just missing out. We'll still have a good chance of getting into the A final. Then we ought to go straight to the grid though, because we've only got a few seconds left of gridding up. Redford at the top, then it is Civileno, Lado, Stolt, apologies, I will get better at these names later on in the season. Sarah is in 4th position, Bun in 5th position. There's Zanoun, Suarez, Lobert, Russell, Walsh running out the top 10, and already the lights are coming on.
Certainly are, as we build once again to another race here at Hockenheim. Round 1, race number 2, and we are away, and it's a great start from your pole. Sitter, the 188 car who started 2nd, they're all pretty much where they started turn 1. Molotova looking down the inside, almost made contact with the 128 car, but nothing can be done. But she's now vulnerable from the 307 car as we head down towards turns number 2. Who's going to get the better braking zone? And round the outside goes the 307 car. Molotova going to have to be very punchy, and she is. Cuts across to counteract any defensive maneuver, and once again our leader is just scampered away. Molotova dropping down the field, being swamped now. Actually, no, she's not being swamped, it's the 128 car of Johan Stolt being swamped, and they are side by side, almost 3 wide. Stolt, very aggressive defensive maneuver. Round the outside goes the 307 car. He's got Molotova. Can he do the double? Not quite, and that's going to leave him vulnerable on the exit of turn 6. Almost contact between the 128 car and the 307 car, and there's a car spinning in the background, and that's Charney that's had, no, sorry, that's Paul Joseph Kleist. He's had some form of issue out there at the hairpin, and the hairpin claims another victim as Johan Stolt up to 3rd place. Absolutely, he stayed in 3rd place even. It was the Bun in the 307 car. He was the one making the moves on the first lap, but couldn't get the double into the chicane as the 188 car there. That's Luedo running ever so wide in turn 12. expect to see more of that as the race progresses. Once again, Luedo so wide on the exit of Sachs curve. Johan Stolt now really having to think about defending from Bun behind him. Molotova as well, wanting a piece of this action, and right behind them you've got that 4-car battle. So these drivers really cannot rest on their laurels as we cross the line to complete lap 1. Redford in the lead, Luedo second, Stolt third, Bun first, fourth even, Molotova fifth, and Molotova looking at getting past, and she wants that 4th place. She wants her AM victory, and Bun just wants that plain old podium as there's absolute carnage as we head into turn 3. And what an opening lap, and Cleese and Charney have come into the pits, but it was a lot cleaner, Sam, than the race previously.
Yeah, I think Cliss may have actually gone off by himself. I'm not entirely sure, but they'll be back onto circuit soon as Bun is up the inside. This is absolutely terrific performance so far from the Welsh driver. I don't think there's going to be any way of responding for Stoltz on the brakes. He does manage to cover off the overtake from Molotova behind, and then we go on to this another long straight, particularly in these F4 cars, and of course the overtake becomes possible back into the Mercedes arena. But that's actually a good exit there from Bun. He should be alright. Here comes Molotova very late on the brakes, almost takes out Bun, who I think turned out of the corner in order to avoid any contact. Don't think contact would have been made anyway, but just being a bit cautious there. And this is really slowing up these drivers, and it's potentially putting at threat their top 8 position, because they've got quite a long train of cars behind. Molotova now under pressure, a little bit offline as well, doesn't want to be out there. And now Sachs corner, you can use the banking to your advantage around the outside, and Molotova went from looking like she was going to gain a position that to losing a position in the end. And now she's got Suarez behind Marteau, who started right from the back. He's up to 8th position. Marteau is super duper quick and will be past these drivers very quick. I think Marteau could even get a top 3 out of this one, already into the transfer spots as Molotova chases after Zanoon. And, well, still these drivers in each other's drafts, and I think they might all bunch back up to Bun, to be honest, because that parabolic turn is so long, they can gain, you know, half a second if they've got a nice draft.
As we see the battle for the lead, and this has come down. Luedo actually set the fastest lap last time by, so Redford isn't running away like race 1. We're going to see a little bit of a battle for the lead, at least one can hope. Luedo looking a little menacing in the mirrors. Charlie's had a little bit of an issue out on track, so he is down in 15th place. Molotova to the inside. Who is that? The 1-2-2 car. That's Martu, and he has absolutely sent it down the inside, and he is up 2 places, I do believe, and that's the 2-1-1 car behind him. That's Zinu, who is down 2 places actually. So Molotova is now in 5th place. Martu in 6th, and Zinu all the way down in 7th. So absolutely a mega move by the 1-2-2 car. Low Burrs had some form of issue out on track, as let's have a look at this move. And we're watching the 1-2-2 car, the bright red car, and just how late he brakes. And I don't think that was necessarily an overtaking maneuver, Sam. I think that was just very lucky avoidance.
Yeah, I think it was Molotova who's trying to get out of the way of Zanoun, I think, going into the hairpin, and how Marteau didn't make contact there is an absolute miracle. He's onto the curb and almost lost control of the car, but Marteau now up to 6th position. Yeah, I think Marteau is going to get 3rd place out of this one. He has lost barely any time to Bun. Here's Lado. I don't think Lado wants to go for the move yet. I think they will leave it till the last lap, do these two. Lado's so close around this part of the lap, and then you've got, you know, 40 seconds odd of flat out action bar 1 braking area, and Lado's not even using the drafts here, so he's just happy to stay behind. So we don't need to pay too much attention to this one, and yeah, even the lead change probably doesn't mean too much. I think this one means a lot more though, because Stoltz is coming back at Bun. He tried to go defensive. That means a longer route though, as it looks like Lado is going to go for the lead. A little bit of a slide there for Redford, but should still stay in the draft. As look at those 3 in the background. That's super duper deep from Russell, who can't get it stopped. Got a little bit of a slide, will get a decent exit, so he might be able to make up 1 place. That's the fight for the last advancing spot to the A final. And further up ahead, Stoltz trying to make this move stick on Bun. They remain alongside. This is just inviting Marteau and Co to join the battle. Marteau tries to get underneath. Stoltz is up into 3rd place, and his battle will continue for the rest of the lap.
Look at this, 4 wide almost on the exit of turn 11. And Moto trying to go down the inside of turn 12, make the impossible move, which he does. Is he going to run wide? Molotova there almost spinning out, trying to make the best of Moto, just absolutely nailing the braking zone once again. He's up to 4th place, up 10 positions from where he started. And next place is Stolt in 3rd. He wants this podium and he wants this chance at winning the A final. He was our fastest man in practice, and he's certainly showing that in race number 2. You see Marteau stalking the back of that 128 car as we head through turn 1. Bun down in 5th place with Molotova. A little bit of drift now in 6th after having that almighty save, you'd have to say, at the Mobile 1 curve. On the brakes we go. Nothing really can be done. Is Luedo. Are we going to see a repeat of Luedo? We're going to see a slipstream battle down towards turns number 6. We're definitely going to see a repeat for the lead. Redford wants his lead back. Luedo gone very wide there and allow Redford the optimal line. Luedo's going to stick it down the inside though. Luedo's going to keep the position, but he's going to be vulnerable on the exit. But he masterfully covers him off as Marteau down the inside of Stolt. Marteau is up to 3rd place. Stolt down to 4th. Bun is still in 5th with Molotova in 6th place, but she's now coming under pressure from Soares in 7th, and Zanu in 8th place is still around and about in this fight. And then Russell, who took the very adventurous line around turn 6 only a lap ago, is still on the back of this fight, so don't count the Brit out one bit. But let's look at this. Stolt once again in the slipstream of Marteau. We're going to see Marteau being outbraked into turn 12. No, not this time. You'd have to get up very early if you wanted to outbrake Marteau. I don't know what he's been taking, but it's certainly helping him brake so much later than everybody else. It's almost like it's in an F3 car, as the 211 car there getting all a quiver through Sachs curve. And just how much slip these rear tyres have got in them. These drivers are pushing them to the absolute limit. And Luedo once again still is in the lead and sets a faster lap time than Redford. But crucially, Marteau sets the faster lap time, but they're about 6 seconds off the pace, so I don't think there'll be much happening there. Oh, there's a spin in the background. That's Russell going off, I think. That's Philip Russell doing the Valtteri Bottas impression. He's managed to keep it out of the wall, but Russell, that's his 2nd mistake of the race, and that's not what you want. And his chances of slipping away, of progressing through to the final, as we see them slipstreaming once again. This is the battle for the lead. And Redford wants this position. He's going to try around the outside, trying to go all the way around the outside. Luedo stuck it to the inside. And I think Redford's going to have the better run out of the corner. Luedo's going to have the inside line for turn 7. But that's going to turn actually into nothing, because Redford is already past as we head into the braking zone of the Mercedes arena. Luedo tries to stick it around the outside. Can't do anything about that. You're going to have to just stick in and try it again. And I think that's the move for the lead. And are we on the last lap? Is that such a late braking maneuver from the 114 car? And there's contact, and that's Zuin. And he's off, and he's upside down and in the wall. And who was that? That was a Charpenter. He was the one that made that such a late lunge. And disaster on the final lap of the Hockenheim ring.
Yeah, and here we go. The checkered flag is out, and Redford is going to win it by a whisker. Brilliant battle between those two. We could well see that battle come again in the A final. Marteau super wide out of the final corner, but brilliant job of him. He's up 11 places to finish in P3 ahead of Stolt, Bun top of the amateur drivers, and Charpentier, who I don't think spent any of the race in the top 8 apart from that final lap. Wonder if you could go back to see that replay, because we're going to soon lose that that replay of that incident, because that was absolutely huge. You love to see a car rolling, it's quite entertaining. But no, that was yeah, just wheel-to-wheel contact. Let's see what happens. So it's Zanoun, who was kind of unlucky throughout the race, didn't do a whole lot wrong. And then there's the late move. Yeah, maybe could have done better to try to make the corner there, Charpentier. And in the end, Charpentier gets through. Zanoun will start last in the B final.
Indeed, very reminiscent of the Lando Norris crash, I think, in the ADAC series. Yeah, don't like to see cars on their roof at that corner, but thankfully it's all sim racing there, all A-OK. But yeah, it's certainly fair to say that Zuin did not have any luck in that race, and I'll be hoping that his luck sort of switches around as we head into the B final. We still have a few drivers just finishing. Yeah, I think everybody's just crossed the line now. And we can have a look at the results. So Will Redford was your race 2 winner, with Loedo having to settle for 2nd place, with Marteau in 3rd place. Stolt is 4th, with Oliver Byrne in 5th place. Sarah Molotova brings it home in 6th, with Pedro Soares in 7th place, with Marca Charpentier in 8th place, and rounds out the drivers who are automatically advancing to the next heat as we go down to, this is the B final now, so this is all to play for if you want to get in to the final race. Abbott on pole, with Russell 2nd, Tukey 3rd, Walsh 4th, Schneebel 5th, Arroyo 6th, Olsen 7th, Lobert 8th, Nielsen 9th, Charney 10th, White 11th, and Cleese in 12th. Craig Curious 13th, Aduin is 14th, and Jose Arroyo comes in 15th and last. And this is such a crucial race for the drivers now. They really need a good race if they have any hope of getting in to the race final. As we have all the cars on the grid, and we are about to get ready to go racing once again in the B final here at the ARA Formula 4 Series. All lights are on, and we are underway, and it's a great start there from 2nd place man Russell. Is he going to have a move into turn 1? Thinking about it. Going to go side by side. Yes, he is. Russell to the inside. Oh, and there's contact, and there's a huge accident in the background. That's our pole sitter man. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 cars involved, and that was our Curie. Zinuin. Oh, no, for him. Charney as well. And we see drivers all over the shop under braking. Who is that? That's Tukey, I think, with a little bit of damage to the front of his car. He will take no further part in this race, at least not in a competitive manner. Arroyo is in 2nd place. As we are watching him now, they're side by side behind him. And I think we're going to make it 3 wide before we head into turn 6. The top 4 will progress to the next race. And Schnabel there looking a little bit spicy on the inside. Sorry, that's Olsen looking spicy on the inside, even Schnabel. Oh, and there's contact in the background there. That's one of the AM cars getting involved with Olsen. Olsen really not having the best race, especially as the defending champion. Arroyo in 2nd place, and Russell, meanwhile, is just scampered away. To the inside goes Schnabel. He wants that position, which he has got, and that's crucial for him. Allows him now to focus on getting past Arroyo and Russell. Schnabel having a good recovery race, and Olsen now on the back of Walsh. They're side by side into turn 12. Olsen takes that position. Make sure he doesn't run too wide, which he doesn't. And ooh, who is that making us a little bit of a move or look there from Walsh, but thinks better of it into Sachs curve. And what an opening lap, Sam. And we're going to see a move on Arroyo. Yes, we are. Schnabel down the inside into turn 16. And that's going to allow Olsen to come through. Oh, and they touch. Olsen's crashed. Olsen has been hit, and that's the rear wheel off his car. I think he's got damage. Olsen dropping down the field. Walsh as well, I think, has got damage. Sorry, no, Arroyo's got damage. Walsh wasn't involved in that, but Arroyo might have just gotten off without a lot of damage, Sam. But high drama here in the B final.
Yeah, and it just to a little bit of a correction that the top 6 get through to the A final, so currently Arroyo would be able to get through. That was just a bit over-aggressive, I think, from Olsen. Regardless if it was Arroyo's fault or not, it's so ambitious, and like I was saying before, it's so important you get through to the A final. Was it worth it going for a move into the final corner when you got a 14-minute B final to make it? I'm sure he'll be regretting that one now. Is also, you can see the amount of drivers with issues. I mean, honestly, a driver with pass fail might be able to get through later on, as we see Nielsen move past Walsh, so that's sort of expected there. The Pro-Am driver getting past the amateur driver. Then you've got Arroyo, who seems to have got back up to pace, as there's a little bit of almost a bit of a swipe there heading into the corner, and now Walsh is very slow. Arroyo around the outside, he seems to be right back up to racing speed, so great news for the Mexican there. Walsh down to 6th position, and bad news for him, he's got Daniel White looking very quick behind. So this is what happened earlier on. I think there was a check-up for Speed 2, and yeah, and well, maybe you can argue that Tukey should have been a bit more cautious there. So Tukey had to take repairs from that. And I mean, you've got to feel sorry for Zenoun, haven't you? I mean, he was in that top 8 for the whole of the heat, and then gets taken out on the last lap, and then he gets taken out on the first corner of the B final. No chance. That's just how quickly this format can change your race.
Yeah, I think you won't be enjoying the final few moments of this race. You're right, being taken out in quick succession. That's Olsen rejoining the track. We see the damage, and let's see what caused the damage. This is Olsen going down the inside of Arroyo. What's going to happen? Yeah, understeer wide, and they sort of get combined together. Olsen keeps it out of the wall, but has clearly got some form of damage to the rear of his car. He tries to accelerate away, but nothing happens, and off to the pits he goes, and Olsen will take no further part in this race. And Walsh now, who will get through to the final on Arroyo. They're side by side into turn 6. Walsh on the inside, looking like a fairly standard late braking maneuver. Arroyo doesn't really fight it on the entry, knows that he can get a better run on the exit, but look who's behind them. That's White. Is there somebody in the background going very deep into turn 6? Manages to collect it all up. So White really wanting to get this final spot, and all the while that Walsh and Arroyo were fighting. Arroyo, half-hearted move to the inside of turn 8. That's really allowed White to get through. As there's contact in the background, Walsh is round, and White is definitely collected. Walsh is falling down the field, finds first gear, and off he goes. And that looks like damage to Walsh's car. And this is Lars Lober, and he is in third place. Haven't seen him for a few laps, quietly lapping away with Nilsson behind him. But it's, yeah, haven't seen much of him. Schnabel has gotten through and actually catching up to the back of Russell. Walsh is dropping down the field, so wonder if he has picked up some damage after that little bit of contact with White. But that has promoted White up into the crucial top 6. And let's have a look and see what's happened. Into the braking zone we go, into the Mercedes arena. Brakes at a fairly normal pace, doesn't hit that curb, just a little bit too much power on exit, and the merest of touches. But Jay Walsh couldn't really do much. He held his brakes like as drivers you're meant to do. As we're having a look at that replay, Laubert's been passed by Nilsson, and White's now having a look at Arroyo. Arroyo's day is going from bad to worse, but he just got to hope that he can keep that 6th place and progress to the final race of the night. White is past, and it looks like Arroyo is probably carrying a little bit of damage from that earlier incident, as we see Lennart Schnabel getting past Russell for the lead, and that looked a little bit, not orchestrated, that's the wrong word I was going to use there. Sort of, I don't think Russell really thought that. Russell knows it's not his race, and he's much more happy with a 2nd place just to sort of consolidate that place in the final.
Yeah, if you advance through to the 8th round, there's no points in this race. So, I mean, there's a difference in points between 7th and 8th. But if you're 1st and 2nd, you just get through to the 8th round, there's no points. It does affect your grid position, but it's 1 place, so it doesn't really matter. Ooh, what has happened to Dorian? Dorian's lost a lot of time. He's going to be overtaken by his brother here, Jose. So one of the Interforce drivers is going to get past me. Yeah, I think you're right. Dorian looks face. So I think that was contact with White, who I'm surprised didn't get damage from his incident with Walsh a lap ago. But here is Dorian. Okay, so he's already ahead of White here, and then he just loses it, and then White, 2 laps in a row, he's got a car spinning in front of him, the Mercedes grandstand corner, and can't really do anything about it. So White is going to have damage now. You can see the inflection on his front wing, but seems to be alright, and Dorian Arroyo has stayed ahead of Jose Arroyo then. So Dorian seems to be back up to pace. White's going off to 90, it seems, so he needs to make sure he stays on the circuit. But at the moment, there's not really anyone behind who can pick up the pieces. Charney is 10 seconds behind, so looks as though it's going to be, one of the Arroyos who gets through, and one of them is going to miss out.
And it looks that way at the moment. Daniel White, don't know what his mechanics have made his car out of, but I want it for my car. There've been 2 major collisions, you'd have to say, for the Brit, but that car has survived rather well. You have to say Arroyo's come off a little bit worse, and Walsh's as well. They're both down in 6th and 10th respectively, but Lennart Schnabel making the best of a bad situation, just taking the lead by storm. The gap almost up to a 2nd, but fair play to Philip Russell. He led the race from the start, or made the move into turn 1. He's had relatively good pace, and let's not forget that he's an AM driver, a little bit wide on the exit there, but great driving from Russell, just to to really show that he has the pace. And Schnabel might be in theory 2 classes higher than him, but that's certainly not deterring Philip Russell from putting in an absolutely storming drive so far. Nilsson in 3rd as well. Also have to say, doing a very good job. But Schnabel doesn't really understand where the track goes, I don't think, at that final corner. Very wide, almost a rallycross-esque line. He sets
So
Yeah.
a couple of people from the YouTube chat will know exactly what I'm sort of talking about there. But it's quite a long story. But you're right. And also just a question being put on the chat. Very good question. Is Russell George Russell? No, but Philip is his brother. So he is out there on circuit and yeah, doing a good job. So yeah, sometimes we get a couple of tidbits from Philip about how Mercedes is going actually when he joins for an interview. So hopefully we'll have a chat with him later on. I think he'll be in the mood for a chat with this result at the moment.
Well, indeed, and the braking zone for turn 6 goes Philip Russell. Is he actually Philip, George Russell's brother?
I'll say later on, but on the broadcast we have to say yes he is, yes he is, and that's why you should keep watching, guys. Keep watching. It's George Russell's brother. It's very cool. A few gaps being formed for the drivers at the moment as it stands, and the two Arroyo brothers are, I think they're brothers at least. I always get these relations wrong, but I believe they are brothers. Oh no, is that a mistake for Jose? I think just running a little bit wide. Didn't lose too much time, saw it come up red on the timing tower for a moment there. Quick shout out, by the way, to Apex Racing Academy, because they are providing a few of the prizes for this series, where the top drivers and teams get themselves even a 1-year gold membership, I think, for the championship winners, along with some other prizes. Also, just for signing up to this series, the drivers get a 1-month bronze subscription, which gives them setups for this F4 car. So many of these drivers will be using those Apex Racing Academy setups, I believe designed by Kevin Ellis. No, I think it's Peter Bayman, apologies. He is designing them. Both extremely good drivers, to be honest. And so yeah, you get that for free just for signing up to the series. So and of course you can sign up to the series as well by visiting apexracingleague.com, where you can also sign up to our Super Truck special event at this circuit. So that's what I was alluding to earlier on, along with our GT3 series and prototype championships as well. So do that, and also join our Discord in the description below, as well, actually now it seems like Jose is closing in a little bit again, so I don't really know how to read that battle.
No, I think it's a little bit of a to and fro over that final place in the A final. About 3 minutes left to go in this race, and it's certainly the battle of the Arroyo brothers to see who's going to progress and who isn't. Doesn't look like anybody ahead of them is too close together with another driver to sort of cause an incident, which means that they both go through. So certainly survival of the fittest, and Dorian is carrying that damage from that crash with White, as we see Jay Walsh once again taking a spin. And where is that on the track? Is that coming onto the Parabolica? I think it is, because there's a DRS sign, so that's on the exit of turn 4, and very unusual to see a car go round there. Wonder if it's a little bit of damage that you might have picked up, and Paul Kleist here, maybe he was involved in that. We might have been a little bit too far ahead. Nielsen now sets the fastest lap of the race, actually bested by Schnabel, who went some 5/10 quicker, but Schnabel once again having a little bit of an off track on that lap, so his lap will not count. As Tukey once again, according to my timing screen, has had some form of issue out on the circuit, and I think this is capping off a fairly poor or fairly awful day from Tukey. He's not had the luck whatsoever, and I think he's been carrying a damaged car from the start of the race. So we'll be hoping that in 1 week's time we come back to Donington and he can have a much better race, because I don't see any reasonable way of him getting through to the final. But you never say never in motorsports. Lennart Schnabel coming through the Mercedes arena once again, looking just in control. The gap is now up to 4.5 seconds. So he has absolutely rocketed that lead. It was about 9/10 the last time we saw it. There's Philip Russell in the background, and that looks like Nielsen starting to catch up to Philip Russell. Now, Sam, we think, what do you reckon? One more lap to go. So what do you reckon? Nielsen in a shout with getting second place here?
Well, if he keeps on gaining like he did on the last lap, then he will catch up. But I think that was a bit of an off lap for Russell, so I think he'll get back onto pace. But it is closing in. Nielsen, I doubt, has that much of an interest. Remember, the difference there is 19th or 20th. Apologies, it's 17th 18th or 19th, there you go. 18th or 19th on the grid. They are fighting over for that P2 spot, and you can see that lap. Nilsson barely gaining any time, just a couple of tenths of a second faster than the drivers behind. Apologies, than Russell ahead. So yeah, shouldn't be too much of a battle. Still seems as though Dorian is going to be able to hold on to that P6 result. For those viewers, maybe just tuning in, do stick with us. We've got another race going. 18 minutes. A final coming up with the absolute best drivers in this series battling it out, and so yeah, tune in for that one. That will be on in about 5 minutes time, but Schnabel absolutely dominating at the moment at the front of this pack. Oh yeah, and just a little bit of a fact for Tuki, congratulations to him. He's from the Isle of Man, I believe a city. I haven't done my research. I don't know actually what the city on the Isle of Man is, but apparently it is now a city. It was a town, but I think the Queen getting happy on a Jubilee made it a city. So there is now a city on the Isle of Man. So imagine Tuki, basically I'm saying, is still celebrating that absolute win for the island. And maybe hasn't done, maybe not having such a good evening, but he's got that to fall back on. Schnabel is reaching the final couple of corners.
Very interesting fact about the Isle of Man. At Apex Racing, we try to bring you all sorts of different information. The information we're about to bring you is Lennart Schnabel takes the victory in the B final. Great drive from him, up 4 positions from where he started. Takes the fastest lap on the final lap of the race for good measure as well. Philip Russell comes across the line in 2nd place, separated by a 2nd to 3rd place man Nilsson. Loev Berg comes across the line in 4th. And now we wait for who is the final 2 drivers advancing to the A final. It's going to be Daniel White, the driver that's had to drive through 2 Formula 4 cars, none of which were his fault, and he crosses the line and takes 5th place with a Dorian Arroyo, in 6th place, and Jose Arroyo just missing out in 7th place. And we're just having a look at Shani, who crosses the line in 8th. And now a little bit of a gap back to Paul Kleist in 9th place, as we see him now entering the Sachs curve, turn number 13. Unlucky for some, not for Paul Kleist on this attempt. Not really pushing the final 2 corners, no need to really, just want to get the car home. And all of these drivers will be coming back stronger for the next round at Donington. Of course, this is our first race of the season. Many drivers might not even have really driven the Formula 4 car that much before, so all a bit of a learning experience. Gregor Curie out there at the moment as well, just coming through turns 16 into the final corner of 17. Doesn't take too much of that inside curb. Don't want to have a clumsy little spin at the final corner of the race with all eyes on you. Gregor Curie comes across the line in 10th place, and we just wait for Jay Walsh. He was having an absolutely mega race, but it all just unfolded for him in the unluckiest of circumstances, and I don't think Jay can even bear to take the finish. Pulls into the pits, and that's a few drivers, Sam, getting ever so close to that grass on the exit, and I just sort of imagine the car spearing across the pit lane. Thankfully, we don't have any pit stops in the race, but I think we're about to bring you the final results. So Schnabel is your winner with Russell 2nd, Nilsson 3rd, Lobert 4th, White 5th, Arroyo 6th, Jose Arroyo even in 7th with Charney 8th, Kleist 9th, Gregor Curie in 10th, Jay Walsh 11th, Abbott 12th, Tukey 13th, Olsen a lowly 14th, and Zinuine also 15th, and those 2 drivers retiring on the opening lap.
Yes, and I think that's brings us to an end of this B final then, so we'll take a little bit of an advertisement break then on Apex Racing TV, and we'll be back with you for the A final in just a few minutes.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Welcome back to the A final of the ARA Formula 4 Championship here at round 1 at Hockenheim, and what an absolutely amazing set of races we've had. And if that wasn't enough action for you, we've got the A final just to cap it all off, as all the drivers at the moment are on their warm-up, just a 3-minute warm-up or maybe a cool down for some of the drivers. There's been so much racing going on as we just see all of them just doing as many laps as they can, trying to get that extra corner of practice as they can, as they all magically teleport off the circuit, and we get ready for our final race. And Isaac Avardson is your pole sitter. He will have Will Redford alongside him, with Tobias Sek, lead Pro-Am driver, in 3rd place, with Lawedo in 4th. Then we have Kevin Zemstra after that storming drive in 5th, with Marteau in 6th place. Daniel Porter is 7th, with Johan Stolt in 8th. Arias Jumentes is in 9th, with Oliver Bunn rounding out the top 10. Alex Lewis is 11th, with Sarah Molotova down in 12th place. Michael Griffith is 13th, with Pedro Suarez in 14th. Toulouse is 15th, with Charpentier in 16th place. Schnabel, race winner, in 17th. Russell 18th. Nielsen 19th. Lobert 20th. Daniel White is 21st. And Dorian Arroyo rounds out your 22-car grid for the final race of round number 1, the A final. The lights are building and we are about to get underway for one last time. The 113 car is your pole sitter. Doesn't get the greatest start, comes over to the inside to defend, doesn't feel the need to, but that's going to allow the 142 car even to get the inside. They're 2 by 2 on the exit, both riding the car. There's a car spearing off into the barriers in the background now, but it's the 142 car of Will Redford that takes the lead. And there is a car as the white car. I can't quite see the number. I think that's Tobias, 2nd, 3rd place, almost careering into the back of Avredson. As we see going down the Parabolica, Lawedo now getting involved on this action. We are 2 by 2 for the top 4 places. We're going to make it 3 wide. I think Sek definitely wants to make this. Lawedo now having to defend from Martau as we down into the braking zone. 3 wide, down the inside goes Sek, and he takes the race lead. Redford now in 2nd. Redford gets the better run on the exit as we're watching their side by side coming through the kink of turn 7, and Redford will have the inside line into turn 8. And he's going to outbrake Sek, but down the inside goes the Avardson and almost makes contact there with Sek. And Marteau has also got past Lawedo, so all changing on the opening lap of the final. And Avardson now trying to get his lead back. He's gone from 1st to 3rd on the opening lap, trying to make up places ASAP. Tobias Sek, after briefly holding the lead, is 2nd place. As we further down the order, we see Soares and Molotova having a little bit of a scrap out there for 11th and 12th. Soares coming off the better. Molotova now dropping down There's a battle on screen at the moment. There you go. You see Molotova just being pushed out wide, so she's going to lose another position. As they're all trying to sort of jockey for position on the opening lap. Molotova now going to have to be wary of that car trying to go around the outside. That's Suarez. So who is that? That's Schnabel that's managed to pick the pocket of both of them there and going around the outside of both of them.
Oh, Sek's gone off the circuit, so he was in second position, and he was sort of holding up the other driver as well, allowing Redford to get away from the rest. And I wonder if that maybe is contact, because Arvidsson was ever so close to the back of him going into turn 2, and now Marteau, who's been making moves all over the place, of course gained 11 places in his heat. But look at the move now down the middle. That's super aggressive from Lado. Not quite sure why he's going for that one, but well, I guess he gained some position out of it. It was probably worth it, but high risk stuff as well. So Marteau up into second position. It's a Delta Sport 1-2 as it stands. Lado in third, and Arvidsson, without doing too much wrong, they're just being caught up by the slipstream. Now Lado is going to try to make this move on Marteau, but Marteau is ever so quick. He runs him a little bit wide as well, and Lado is off the circuit and will be very tight into the right-hander. Is there going to be contact? Good driving for Arvidsson, just to leave a little bit of space. And look at Porter, he's now top of the Pro-Am drivers, and Porter is moving ahead of Lado, who has been ever so aggressive on this lap, and if anything, it has harmed him in the long run. Dwemstra, after a poor start, trying to get back a couple of places. It would be fascinating to see what happened to Sek, because he was our leader in the AM class, as we got the proper Super Trucks line now for Stoltz. He has completely cut that, as we see what happened to Sek. Was there contact from Arvidsson just behind? No, there wasn't. Sek just lost it by himself.
A heartbreak for Tobias Sek, as you were rightly pointing out, had such a good position and almost, well, briefly led the race into turn 6. And yeah, there was somebody going off the track. That was Stolt. He's all the way down in 16th place now, as there is a spin in the background. I think that's Griffin, who has gone for the Valtteri Bottas impression. Now that's Michael Griffin indeed, the number 268 car. He rejoins the race. No damage done. As we have a look, Marteau now under pressure from our pole sitter. And Marteau's going to have to think about throwing a few defensive shapes into turn 6, or even is it worth defending? Well, Avardson doesn't really feel like making the move. Luedo behind does, though. Down the inside he goes on Porter, so he is up to 4th place and can regain or continue even that battle, as we see all manner of different lines through turn 6. The 206 car there really not taking the optimal line. This is Daniel White we're looking at in the 219 car. Down the inside goes Lennart Schnabel on the 171 car. That's Jumentis, so Schnabel up, how many places is that? 9 places from the start. Molotova is dropping down the order, so she's had some form of issue out on track, but Lennart Schnabel capitalising on the absolute craziness of the opening few laps and rising up to 8th place. And now he has his old rival Kevin Zemstra up ahead of him. We've seen these drivers go toe-to-toe many times before in the ARA F3. Will that translate itself to the F4 series? Only time will tell. That's Luedo being under pressure there from Porter. Porter thinking about a move into turn 1, but thinks better of it. Marteau sets the fastest lap over Redford, but that gap is about 1.4 seconds as we still continue this battle between Porter and Luedo. Into turns 2 they go. Porter thinking about a move. He's going to have a really good opportunity as we exit turn 4 through the Parabolica into the hairpin of turn 6. As Marteau once again thinking, going to have to think even about a defensive shape thrown into turn 6. Luedo cuts across. That's very aggressive defensive manoeuvre. Porter forced to the outside line. Is he going to be able to go all the way around the outside? No, just locks his front right brake, so has to abort that plan. But behind him, that's Bunn and another car having a little bit of an issue. And this is what happened to Molotova out on tracks. This is down at the Mercedes Arena. And just lost it on the curb, about a millimetre over the curb, and around the car goes. And I think she's just made a little bit of contact with the barrier, but she'll be able to get going, but has lost a whole heap of positions. Porter's still hustling Luedo up ahead as Sek now gets past Charpentier, so he is making his way back through the field after that earlier spin. But Porter, our lead Pro-Am driver, really wanting to make his moves and get past Luedo, who is still dropping off the back of our battle for for first, second and third. So this sort of podium battle, Luedo's dropping off and allowing Porter just to catch him. And you have to say, Sam, at the moment, Luedo's looking vulnerable because he doesn't have that slipstream.
Yeah, and well, Luedo of course took part last season, but I feel like he's already making new enemies for this season because he's so aggressive out there. And you've got to sort of question, you see Marteau and Arvidsson, they're just working together in second and third position, helping each other along and securing themselves a podium. Meanwhile, these guys behind are fighting ever so hard. And I wonder if Porter will be able to come back again. And even Bun, you know, when you've got Zwemstra and Schnabel chasing you down as well, they're going to be in the fight by the end of the race. As here comes Porter again and again. Luedo's willing to go 100% defense, covering this extremely wide section of this Hockenheim course. But again, Porter is too wide. He'll get a better exit, but I don't think he'll have the run to attempt to move into turn 8. And this is just bringing these guys closer and closer. Even like Stoltz could maybe get involved in this one. Stoltz down 4 places from his start, Sek down 8 places. Even these guys could catch up by the end of this race. We've still got 10 more minutes to go, so we could see a bit of a traffic jam form behind these guys if this stuff continues, albeit Luedo's pace, to be fair, is still fairly strong in that 4th position. Good battle as well, of course, going on behind them with Zwemstra ahead of Schnabel and ahead of Jomantis. Also a little bit of a word for Sek versus Stoltz versus Charpentier versus White. 4-car battle going on for 11th place. Lots of racing going on here at Hockenheim in this final race of the evening.
Certainly is. We've had everything bar the kitchen sink so far, and we've got 10 minutes left. Who knows? Luedo very wide on the exit of the final corner, turn 17. That's going to leave him very vulnerable down to turn 2.
Oh no, Stoltz has had an issue. I think that's at the final corner.
Stoltz had, so he is dropping down the field. So what has happened to him? He's back on track, so he's been off for 3 seconds. So what's happened to Stoltz? We see Porter now just trying to hustle and hassle Luedo into making a mistake. We saw Luedo make that mistake into turn 17. Will Porter now try and capitalize on that? We've seen Luedo go 100% defensive, and he does that once again. Does Porter have the overspeed? He needs to stop trying to go all the way around the outside and just simply try and outbrake Luedo, because it looks like Luedo is struggling at the moment. Luedo sends it to the inside. Porter has to almost turn out of the corner to avoid a crash, and Luedo once again keeps his car ahead of Porter, but Porter still has the run. They go through the kink of turn 7. That's going to allow Porter the inside line into turn 8, and Porter, I think, is going to be feeling very brave under brakes, which he is. Going to cut off Luedo. Contact made between Luedo and Porter, but Porter takes back that 4th place. And hopefully, if you are Porter, you are looking and seeing Oliver Bunn behind you starting to hustle Luedo just like he was doing only a few corners ago. And you know, you're hoping that this battle, but Luedo down the inside into Sachs curve, turn 13, and that's pushed Porter wide, and that's going to allow Bunn to come through. So they're side by side between Porter and Bunn. We've got all 3 classes racing at the same point of the track. It's Luedo, Porter, Bunn. Then right behind we have Zwemstra, Schnabel, Jomantis as well, as they all go very wide on the exit of turn 17. Through turn 1 we go. Nobody really thinking of a move. Porter's got the run on Luedo, and he's forcing Luedo to the outside. That's going to allow Porter to dive down the inside. Porter will take the position. Luedo will try and stick it around the outside, but Porter sticks it and parks the bus, as it were, and that's going to slow everybody up on the back of this, and it goes all the way down to Jomantis. They're almost going to go 3 wide. I think they are going to go 3 wide. It's Porter, Luedo, Bunn, all trying to make a position. If you are Bunn at the moment, you really want to just see if you can avoid any sort of carnage that's about to occur. There's Luedo in the middle, plays it all very safely. That's Lennart Schnabel, though, trying to make the best of the situation. He certainly does that. Past Kevin Zwemstra he goes. And that's still, they're still side by side. This is the battle for 2nd place between Marteau and Arvidsson, and they are 3 wide into the turn 8 complex. They all somehow managed to make it without any major contact. That's Lennart Schnabel now going around the outside of Luedo. Schnabel having an absolutely mega lap, and if he can clear the 307 car, I think he would have gone from about 8th to 5th in one go. Oh, and they touch Luedo, and Schnabel having a little bit of a moment at turn 12. That's going to put Schnabel on the back foot. He's all a quiver through turn 13, and that's going to put him onto the back of his teammate Kevin Zwemstra. an absolute drama. Just as I was saying, how Schnabel had such a good lap, you can see how hot those rear tyres really are, struggling for any sort of resemblance of grip around the outside of turn 17. That's put his teammate right on the gearbox of him as my voice decides to have a little bit of an off-track moment like the rest of the drivers. Oliver Bunn still trying to make his way past. Sorry, Oliver Bunn is in the lead of this gaggle. I missed all of that. So Oliver Bunn is in 4th, Luedo 5th, Porter down to 6th, and what an absolute mega lap of racing, Sam.
Yeah, I think Bunn was the one all the way down the inside heading into the turn 8 left-hander, and that's how he managed to get ahead. These guys have given up on trying to catch up to Redford. It's a shame because the gap was actually coming down. It was down to about 1.4 seconds after a peak of 1.8, and then it seemed like Arvidsson went for 2nd place, and now they are just going for a duel, as this is not a duel, this is like 5 cars. And again, you've got to question, I mean, I know it's, you know, maybe they're just having some fun, I don't know out there, but if they want to finish well in a good position, Lado and Porto should not have been racing against each other. They could have pulled away from the rest. And here comes Bunn trying to, apologies, that's Lado getting past Bunn then. There's just absolutely no resistance. Lado somehow avoiding any contact so far in this race. He's going to get a better exit there. And now Bunn thinks about covering off the inside to Porto, but it's just so wide. And he's going to have to brake a little bit early in order to avoid the back of the Spanish driver ahead of him. And now it's Bunn who's at the, dropping a lot down. They're almost 3 wide going through the stadium section here. This is when the track really narrows up, and your Mantis is holding on that position against Schnabel. He must be so furious because he knows that he's probably the fastest out of all of these drivers, but he got sent back on that previous lap. He has now got past Mantis, so that's 1 down, and he could definitely still get P4 out of this one. But well, I mean, even Suarez is catching up to this this fight as well. Apologies, by the way, to the drivers further down the order that we haven't been able to show them too much, but this battle is just so entertaining. It could really kick off at any possible moments, as Lodo's got a bit of a gap now, but it's not enough of a gap, and Porter and co are just going to all jag up, and this battle for P4 is going to be ignited.
They need to be a little bit tactical here, Bunn and Porter, and they need to sort of have the bigger image in mind and keep that gap to Luedo, but they certainly aren't looking like they're playing ball at the moment. That's Bunn trying to go down the inside of Porter into turn 6. Luedo just not defending anything, almost contact in the braking zone, as that was Porter, as he was so late under braking, trying to defend that position. They're still side by side, so we head now down towards the kink of turn 7, and Schnabel waiting in the wings to pick up any of the pieces that might fall off. Schnabel looking to the inside. He's going to try the double. Down the inside he goes. Is he going to make contact with the 307 car of Bunn? No, he doesn't. He's got past Porter, so he's up 1 place. So close to disaster, but absolutely superbly done by Lennart Schnabel. And he is back in the pound seat, hassling and hustling Bunn through turns 12 as Luedo takes the rallycross line once again. Down the inside goes Lennart Schnabel, intersects curb. He almost lost it on the rear. Somehow he managed to gather up the car. No places lost. Didn't manage to overtake Bunn, but what a save. What an absolute save. There's a little bit of a half-hearted move in the background. That's somebody pulling into the pits. Is that Mantis coming into the pits? Yes, it is. He is out of this fight for some reason, whether he's picked up some damage.
I imagine it's incidents. 12 incidents the drivers are limited to before they get a drive-through penalty, which is less than last season. And I want to caught out a couple of drivers who have been pushing the limits, particularly at the final corner, as Bunn is, well, Lado's away. Lado's been able to get away. He will be able to take this 4th position, but it's all about what's going to go on behind, because Bunn is holding on as much as he can. Schnabel has been so aggressive, moving into, you know, Sachs corner. That's absolutely madness, but he nearly managed to pull it off. Porter is going down the inside. He's almost onto the grass, taking such an elongated line around that parabolic corner, and he's on the inside. This is surely the place that you want to be. None of them are giving up on this easy. Surely contact will be made. Fortunately, Bunn taking quite a tight exit to that corner, but it's Porter who was in the right position there to get the pair of them, as Marteau, I think, moving back ahead of Arvidsson. I forget who even was ahead previously. We've got 1 more lap to go after this one though, and I'm sure the Swede will be able to respond in that battle. Bunn back ahead into 5th place. The Amjo has got terrific racecraft up there. He's defending so well against faster drivers, at least as far as I'm aware they're faster drivers. Here comes Schnabel, brilliant exit for him. This might be where the resistance ends, and he does have to give that one up, does the Welsh driver. So Schnabel finding up into P5, And he moves into this next corner as Wims just had a good lap. He's been able to get past Porter there. Suarez was right with these tries. Even Sek. I was saying how Sek might get involved in this one later on. He hasn't quite caught up. He might be involved when they move on to the last lap because he's only a second behind this battle now. But Schnabel leads them round with 1 lap to go.
Incredible racing. We haven't seen much of this man on your screen at the moment. Will Redford, he's had a fairly boring, shall we hazard a guess? He's had a very good race. Certainly how you want to go as White drops to the pit lane. So maybe another one of the drivers who have fallen foul of the stewards in regard to their incident limit as we head back towards this absolutely mega battle for what is now a P5. Lennart Schnabel is in the poison chalice, as it were. He leads this pack as we ride on board with Oliver Bunn, and you can watch Zemstra gaining Avardson getting past Marteau. That might be crucial unless Marteau can get past. Weaving down the inside goes Zemstra, but once again Porter looking very handy, under brakes into turn 6, can't do anything about it. Is he going to have a little bit of a run off the corner somehow? We have not seen an almighty accident from any of these drivers. Absolutely superb racing as we go through the kink of turn 7. Does Porter feel a little bit dicey under brakes? Not really, a little bit of a half-hearted tackle, you'd have to say there. Manages to not collect Zemstra, and that is Suarez in the background trying to sort of duck and dive, trying to get past Porter in any way, shape or form, but about 4 miles ahead of all of that battle we have Will Redford, the 142 car, who's had an absolutely mega race. Overtook the race, the pole sitter from the start, led basically from lights to flag, and he takes the win here at round 1. Great drive from him. Avardson is second place after losing a position to Marteau. Up 3 places, will finish on the podium, and there is an absolutely almighty scrap for the final places in the top 10. So that's Luedo in 4th, Schnabel 5th, Bunn 6th, Wemstra 7th, Porter 8th, Suarez in 9th, Sek recovers to 10th, Russell is 11th, Charpentier in 14th, and having the best finish out of anybody so far today. Hats off to you, good sir. That was very impressive. Nilsson 12th, Leibert in 13th place, and this is what happened to Johan Stolt on the final lap. Sorry, this is Marteau. So this is what happened, and this is how Avardson managed to get past. Down the inside he goes into turn 6. Marteau tries to do the undercut and tries to sort of get in and get the better exit, but Avardson was very wary of that. Very Sebastian Vettel-esque, and just hung the door out there and nowhere through for Marteau. So it's a Delta Sport 1-3, but Redford is absolutely ecstatic at that. And whether that was a bit of a donut or whether that was a lapse of concentration, I'm not sure, but never way, it did look very cool.
Yeah, and there was an incident for Stoltz on that last. I wonder if you could see what happened to him. I think he lost out because there was a really good battle, and I apologies to the guys just outside the top 10 because there was a decent battle going on between about 4 drivers, but like I was saying earlier on, that's just, you know, that top 10 battle, you know, you had 6 cars in the fight. It was extremely intense action, but this was sort of the other battle, and then Stott just lost it by himself. The driver's really struggling for rear end grip around particularly that stadium section tonight, and that was how he lost those places, but he did stay ahead of Yamantis. I forget what even happened to Yamantis, or maybe he was always there, Yamantis, apologies. Well, no, he lost 7 places, didn't he, Arias? But a lot happened in that race. Redford finishes top of the judge, then 4.1 seconds ahead. That doesn't tell the story. Had the other judge not been held up a little bit in the very early stages, I'm trying to recall who it was, who they got held behind. It was Tobias Sek, wasn't it? Who got up into got into the lead at one point. Then they kind of got held up a little bit behind. That allowed Redford to break the draft, and that's why he managed to finish so far ahead of Arvidsson and Marteau. Lado somehow finishes in 4th place. You got to question the tactics, batting every single corner like 2 minutes into the race, but he got away with it in the end, so good result for Lado. I don't think he'll be getting any penalties up there. It seemed all fair from him. Lennart Schnabel's in 5th place. Bunn, amazing result in the end. He may get promoted to one of the other categories, but he's there in 6th position. Then it was Remstra. Porter was very good, a bit unlucky if anything to finish in P8. Then it was Suarez, Sek. Russell did well to recover actually to 11th. Then it was Nilsson, Loper, Charpentier, Stoltz, Yamantis, Shirley, Molfitova, White, Arroyo, Griffin, and Lewis. Everyone scores points because it's the A final, so no worries about that one. But yeah, Lewis was the only retiree out there, which was a good thing because that was a crazy start we had to the B final, of course. By the way, quick shout out to SDK Gaming. You may be wondering, how on earth do we get all these graphics? This isn't something that you get in iRacing. Well, you get them from SDK Gaming, and it's quite simple. You just download the software, and you pretty much get this overlay basic. I mean, you don't have the class names necessarily, you'll have to add that yourself, and the logos as well you'll have to add, but it's all very basic stuff. It's really easy to use is SDK Gaming, and yeah, you can use it as a heads-up display as well, so you get F1 like graphics. There's different templates as well. You can get the NASCAR ticker, you can get the lovely Formula 3.5-esque graphics as well. I really like them, but I think in terms of the simplicity, I think these F1 style graphics are the best that SDK offers. So do check them out at sdk-gaming.co.uk in order to get yourself a subscription.
So after that incredible race, I think we've all had a slight time to recover, and why don't we have a little bit of a chat to our race winner, Will Redford. Let's just grab him into the commentary box. Good evening, Will. What an absolutely mega race from your perspective. You know, led after lap 1 and just sort of ran away with it. Sort of talk us through it from your perspective.
Yeah, couldn't go much better than that really. But it was difficult. The track was quite hot, so it was very slippery out there. Especially on the setup that I was using, I've got a really low wing setup, so I was struggling with traction on the rear. But then around like lap 6, lap 7, my tyre sort of came to me and I was able to start going fast again. And it's around the same point that Marto and Arvidsson behind started fighting, so it sort of just built up the gap for me and I could take it easy to the end. But you know, it was a good round, good race.
Yeah, it certainly looked like it from your side. Yeah, of course, new season, new cars. How much experience do you have in these Formula 4 cars?
So I did the Skip Barber race series at the start of this season for the real life drive that they were hosting. And then I've done a few, I haven't done many races this season. This is like the first week that I've probably got back into it, and I've done all the official races this week, the fixed set and the open set. So I don't have a ton of experience, but I have done a lot of races, especially around this track this week, so that's sort of what's helped me out.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely the class of the field out there today. I think you're a bit right that drivers behind you were fighting, but you had absolutely incredible pace out there. When you lined up second, did you sort of feel like you were going to go for the win, or is it the first race of the season? Were you happy just to come in second and just sort of gather the points?
Obviously, you got to see like how the race plays out. If it comes in, in my situation, I could get a poor start and drop back, or I could get a great start and get ahead of Arvidsson at the line, which is what ended up happening. So it just depends how the race plays out. I didn't have a plan going into it. It was just drive as well as I could and see where I end up. Yeah,
well, you certainly drove superbly well, as we're just seeing on the stream. And your main rival was having a little bit of a spin into turn 2. I mean, great drive from yourself. So we head to Donington next, which is a totally different track from Hockenheim. Do you think that sort of track style suits your driving style, or do you think that Hockenheim sort of plays into your strengths more?
I don't know yet, because I don't really know where my strengths are in this car, because I've not raced it enough to be able to tell you. But Donington is a great track. I do enjoy driving around there, and it should produce some solid racing, especially with the slipstream, and because everyone's going to be on high wing sets, so there's going to be a lot of toe, especially down the back straight. But yeah, I couldn't tell you if it's going to be a strong track or a weak track, but I'm hoping to be up the front, and we'll see where I am.
Yeah, well, good luck for next week. Just before we let you go, two things. We were having a little bit of a chat in the commentary box about how strong the toe is in these Formula 4s. How strong would you assess it to be?
It depends. So it depends on your wing angle. Obviously, the wing angle on your own car and the wing angle on the car ahead, because if he's got more wing than you, you're going to get a much better run. You get slipstream from about 1.1 seconds back, and it will suck you in slowly. until you get within half a second, and then you'll properly get a run on the car ahead. It is quite strong, especially on long straights, but and especially around the corners as well, because you don't get much aero wash in these cars because they don't have much aero. It will suck you in through the corners as well, so it is very strong. It's not as strong as something like the Skip Barber, but it is pretty strong.
It's really interesting. I'll have to keep that in mind. And before we let you go and celebrate your race victories, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to on the broadcast at all?
Yeah, big shout out to Marto. You know, he had a difficult qualifying and he brought it back to nearly second place, or on the podium at least in the final race. So congrats to Marto. Big thanks to Delta Sport for having me on their team. Thanks to my dad and my brother for watching as well. I've seen them in the chat, and thanks to you guys for the broadcast.
Thank you very much, and yeah, we hope to see more of your pace and your driving at Donington in a week's time.
Thank you.
And Sam, I think you're standing by with another one of our drivers.
I sure am. Well, quick shout out actually to another one of our sponsors, Virtual Racing School, offering 50 plus data packs for both road and oval racing. And those data packs including setups, track guides, data analysis software, and one-on-one coaching. So thanks to them for also supporting this series. I am going to drag up Philip Russell, who joins us in the commentary box now. Philip, just a quick word first of all. I mean, we were mentioning earlier on your relations to a particular Mercedes driver, and some drivers were doubting that. I was just wondering if you could just confirm that to all the viewers that you are related. Oh no, and this happens every single week where Philip, his mic always breaks. I mean, genuinely, there's a high percentage chance of his mic not working than it working. So unfortunately, he's completely silent at the moment. That is a shame. Well, hopefully, well, no, he's not saying anything. So maybe we'll jack him back up in a bit. Oh, that's a shame.
Instead, he can either confirm or deny. It's a very good tactic. I commend his yeah. I've lost the words after that race, but yeah, let's hope that Philip Russell's bike will work in a minute, because I'd really like to hear the answer to that question.
Yeah, we'll drag him up later. We could drag up Lennart Schnabel in the meantime, who managed to finish in an impressive 5th position tonight. Congratulations, Lennart. What's a drive in terms of overtakes? I mean, to go from the B final to 5th in the A final is insane.
Yeah, it was hard racing. Had a bit of bad luck. Well, I was a bit stupid in the first race. Jumped the start a bit, and yeah, just try to get through in the B final, and suddenly I found myself in a group of like 5 cars in the A final, and that was just hard racing. I thought we were gonna crash, to be honest, but it all went clean, and I'm in a 5th place for starting from the back is okay.
Yeah, I mean it's good, damage recovery, isn't it? I'm sure you'll be, winning a final later on in the season, but this is certainly a decent start to the championship for yourself. Have you driven the F4 cars in the past? Because of course we've seen you in the F3s a lot in the past. Are you driving the F4s in any other series, or is this pretty much your only focus in this category?
That is my only series I race in with the F4. I hadn't much practice. Last time I drove the car was on Monday for like an hour, and yeah, it's not, it doesn't fit. It feels a bit weird. I'm struggling quite a bit with rear end grip, but I'm gonna get used to it and hopefully win some races in the future.
It seemed like, and certainly your comments about the lack of rear grip seems to back up what we were seeing, because it seemed like everyone was sort of constantly sliding. It seems to be a car which, to go fast in, you have to be almost drifting it around the corners. Is that the case, or is it actually the smoother the better?
To be honest, I'm not sure. There's some corners where a little slide is definitely better, but there are also some corners where you have to drive really clean. It's difficult. It's, in my opinion, it's more difficult than the F3, because in the F3 you just drive as clean as you can, and that car is just, it's a bit different.
Definitely, yeah, it's going to take a little while to get used to it, but you certainly seem to be one of the fastest drivers out there tonight, Lennart. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
A shout out to you guys. Thank you for the stream. Then thank you to my parents and to my team. And that's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Lennart, and yeah, best of luck next week.
Thank you.
That was Lennart Schnabel. Sebastian, I think we've got at least time for one more interview.
Yeah, let's talk to our 4th place man. Just bring him into the commentary box. Welcome to the commentary box, Alex. If I sort of told you that your race was you started 4th and finished 4th, and said it looked like quite a boring race, I don't think you'd believe me, because that was pretty mental out there.
Hi, first, yes, that was pretty intense race for us. Like, there was a very big group behind the top 3. But yeah, it was such a crazy race. I feel like I threw a bit of a chance in this race, to be honest, because yeah, with these cars, even though I knew I was a bit slower than Will and QT probably, I was like 0.4 off pace, but with these cars it's so easy to follow that you can fight for the position, even with cars that are like between 0.4, 0.8 faster than you maybe. So yeah, but it was a pretty crazy race indeed.
Yeah, and you know, we've been asking all the other drivers, you know, how much experience do you have in these F4 cars? You know, I've seen you and commentated, you know, on you a lot doing in the F3, so you know, how much experience do you have in these new cars?
Well, to be honest, I've pretty much I've only started using the car after we finished the F3 season, and yeah, I didn't have much time because I went back to Spain for vacation, and yeah, but I've been grinding pretty much like the last 2 days. And first I thought I was gonna do horrible, but yesterday I found something that was just amazing. Like, I was doing it and it was working, so it was pretty much the key for me. And now I'm just trying to improve that, like that driving style, and trying to adapt better to the car. But yeah, not much experience, but it's kind of similar to the F3, so it's not that hard to adapt.
You've just answered my next question of, you know, how are you finding it compared to the F3s? You know, I guess, you know, you're talking about how easy it is to follow. I mean, that makes a change from the F3s. Do you sort of prefer the F4, or are you still, you know, liking the F3?
Well, being honest, they're both fun. Like, they're both fun to race with and to like hot lap, if you can say. The main difference, I would say, is like mid corner. This car tends to like get lost. Like, I don't know how you say that, but just in mid corner you lose way more. The F4 is like, it's more aggressive when it's neutral. So you have to be very precise with the inputs to still be fast and then not lose it in the mid corner. And then yeah, if I prefer one or the other, probably the F3 in terms of I don't know, position, because with this car, I was just talking to Gambali, if you lose one, like if you're fighting, as it happened to me with Cutie and Isaac, we were fighting for P2, and all of a sudden I had a contact, I had to like go off track, and when I came back, the whole group behind caught up with me. And once that happens, if you're offline, you lose all the positions. Like, if there's a group of 8 cars behind you, you will probably lose all of them. And that doesn't really happen with the F3, because it's easier to recover and get back to speed and get back to the line. So I don't know which one I prefer, but they're both pretty fun to race with.
Yeah, it certainly looked that way from the commentary box, and you provided so much of the action. I think we were basically on that battle from start to finish. It was absolutely mega, and just congratulations to all the drivers, you know, you included, that were in that gaggle, and nobody ended up sort of upside down in a wall. I was, you know, it's so clean and so enjoyable to watch. So yeah, thank you very much for that. Certainly spiced up the Saturday from my side. And we head off to Donington next. Different track. Are you feeling confident about your chances there?
I don't even know what the next track is. Could you tell me?
Donington.
Oh, Donington. Well, yeah, it's not a bad track for me. It's not the best either, but yeah, a bit of practice, I guess, and we'll be up there hopefully.
Well, fingers crossed for you on that front. And before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a quick shout out to on the broadcast?
Well, yeah. Once again, Racing Forces. Lovely support from them. Also, Pedro Suarez just joined the team for this season. I hope we do well and we work out together. And more than thank you, just sorry to Kevin Swemster. I don't know if I was in the podcast or what, but we were heading into the arena and we were side by side and there was a bit of contact. I think he lost a couple of positions because of that, but yeah, just sorry and yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to come and talk to us in the commentary box, and we wish you all the luck for your practice for the next race at Donington.
Thank you guys. See you.
Thank you very much. And unfortunately, we're running out of time, so we'll have to wait until next week to hear from Philip Russell and Kabwali Chani as well. We'd lovely to hear from you, but we are unfortunately out of time. And very quickly, Sam, if you've got any sort of closing thoughts from the absolutely amazing races that we've seen today here at Hockenheim.
Yeah, just looking forward to the rest of the season. 8 more rounds of this championship to go, and just a reminder to anyone who's viewing and thinks, oh, that looks like fun, come join us. You can sign up at apexracingleague.com, where you can also sign up for our Super Trucks free events during week 13, our Apex Racing League GT3 Trophy Championship, and also the Apex Racing League Prototypes Championship. And also join our Discord in the description below, where you can see all our news series when they are announced.
An absolutely mega night of racing. A big thank you to all of our drivers and everybody watching at home, and thank you very much, Sam, for accompanying me in the commentary box, and for John Robertson doing his absolutely wonderful job as always on production. Now, if you're wanting a little bit more racing action, we have the Formula 3.5 from Interlagos in just about 15 minutes. Austin and Tibb will be in the booth for that. We've got the Spec Racer 4s for you tomorrow. That starts about at 8 GMT. And if you're more in the mood for a tin top tussle, then be sure to tune in to the iRacing Israel League on Monday. That starts at 7 PM GMT. But if you're set on F4 as much as we are, and join us here at the same time next week as we head to Donington.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.